Well, it's officially 10:15. I think we should start. If somebody comes in, I can help them out later. Good morning. Welcome to Newman University. I'm Michelle Haywood with the Office of Financial Assistance. We're trying something new this year. We're actually videotaping this session and the other sessions that they're having for parents that could not attend. They'll be able to view it on our website. There's a few things, key points I want to go over, and then I'd like to open the floor to a question and answer session because we're here to help you. And I want you to know that right after this meeting, our office will be open. I have somebody else, Dorothy. If you've called into financial aid, I'm sure you've dealt with Dorothy Graham, who is wonderful. And we'll be there for a little bit to help you answer any other private questions you might have or concerns. First of all, the one thing that most of our freshman students will forget to do is to complete the entrance counseling process and electronically sign a master promissory note in order to get their direct loan funds from the government. It's something that has to be done one time. It'll fulfill the requirement for the 4 years that they're here. It's that orange paper I gave out should have been mailed to you with your financial aid award letter. That's going to be like your little mini Bible for financial aid. The information's on there. It's also on the back of the financial aid award letter. So it tells you the website that you need to go to and the 2 items that you need to go through in order to fulfill that requirement. The other important thing is a lot of people believe that they have filed a FAFSA application, but they've never received an award letter from us. Is there anybody in the room that hasn't received a financial aid award letter? Wonderful. You have not.
Right, there are circumstances that I've talked to financial.
Okay. It's important that you remember whatever you use to access the FAFSA application, your parent PIN number and the student PIN number, you need to keep that in a safe place because you have to do this every year while the student is enrolled. So right after January 1st, you're going to file this FAFSA application again for the academic year 15-16. If you don't remember that PIN number, there's a website on this orange paper that will tell you where to go, and you'll request a duplicate PIN number. Don't apply for a brand new one. Verification. If you were selected for verification, what this is the government selects 33% of all FAFSA applications that are submitted for us to review to make sure it was completed correctly. If that's the case, you have received information sent to you at home saying these are the documents we need in order to complete this process. If you have not sent that in, you need to do so ASAP because none of your financial aid will be applied to your account, to the bill, until it's been completed. If you believe you've sent it in to us and everything's correct, is complete, but you still haven't received a financial aid award, the final financial aid award letter, please come down to my office after this meeting so we can take a look and see what's happening. The other most important thing that students need to remember is they must, on a daily basis, check their Newman email address. If there's something that financial aid is missing, if the professor is changing a homework assignment, for some reason class is being canceled, that's where they're going to be notified. And if they're not checking it on a daily basis, they're going to miss a lot of important information. Specifically, next March. Next year, they'll be considered returning students, and they'll be eligible to apply for what we call our endowed and restricted scholarships. If you go to our website, which you can click on admissions, down on the left-hand side, at the bottom, you'll see financial aid, and it'll bring you to this page. If you click on scholarships, endowed and restricted, you'll see all the different scholarships that are available to our returning students. They will apply here at this site. There'll be an application and a way to check it, sign in to do that. Right now, it's just going to show you each of the scholarships that are available and what the requirements are. The application period is from March 15th until April 30th. If they do not apply online, they will not be considered by the scholarship committee. And just because they apply, doesn't mean that they're automatically guaranteed. They have to meet this criteria, and it's specific criteria. Some of them require an essay to be done. If that's the case, they'll get a follow-up email telling them to complete that essay. outside of the financial aid office, right across from our hall, we have a scholarship board. We're notified from outside scholarship vendors of scholarships that have a small application window. So we may be notified now in August, and the scholarship application is due, say, in October. So because it's such a small window, to put it on the website, we don't believe is effective. This way, it's out in the open. We have students come by weekly and look to see if there's something they would like to apply for. They can take it off the bulletin board, bring it into our office, we'll make a copy for them. They can take a picture with their smartphone and apply that way. Special considerations. If you find yourself with a life event that is affecting you financially, please don't hesitate to call us. We are here to help you. It could be a myriad of different circumstances. Perhaps you've lost a job, maybe your hours were reduced, therefore your pay's been reduced. An adult child moves back home by themselves, maybe with grandkids. There's a medical issue. Perhaps you're paying high school tuition to another Catholic institution. All these things can be taken into consideration. And with some paperwork documents on this special consideration form, it allows us to relook at your FAFSA and update it so that it reflects your current financial situation. So please don't hesitate to call us. Life happens, and we're here to help. They're my key points that I need for you to remember. I didn't want to inundate you with a bunch of information. You definitely want to read the front and the back. I really am interested in hearing what your biggest concerns are and giving you an opportunity to have a voice, and let's answer those questions and possibly share that via the video with other parents who can attend. So who would like to go first? Any questions? Go ahead.
A lot of Catholic universities offer a Catholic incentive for students coming from Catholic high schools. It was my understanding that Newman does not. Is that true? I first heard that it does not, and then I heard not for freshman year.
There is one scholarship, and I apologize because I know it starts with an M and there's 4 of them, but there's one that it's for an incoming freshman, but it's based off of, we're given the guidelines, which Catholic high school they went to, as to whether or not they're eligible. We review all the entire freshman class. Admissions lets us know who meets that criteria, and then a letter sent out to them to apply for that. Other than that, you're correct, there isn't anything available right now. I do know that there's some conversation that might change, but as of right now, there is not.
Now, if that changes, would it be eligible to students
That I don't know either.
because just incoming freshmen?
Because the scholarship, the entity that's offering the scholarship gives us the guidelines.
Right.
So until they reach out to us and tell us who they want to offer the funds to, I don't have any way of telling you that answer. Sorry. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Do the incoming freshmen have to wait till March before they can apply for the scholarships on the bulletin board too?
No, they can do that
They
starting
can do it
today.
starting
If they see
today.
something there, they absolutely can apply.
But the one on the website, they wait till March.
Like the endowment?
The endowment
Endowment
restriction.
scholarship.
Also on our website is an outside scholarship, grants and scholarships. These are a list of websites that we know are safe sites that do not charge you to apply for a scholarship. The majority of these would be also for 15, 16, but it certainly couldn't hurt to start looking at that,
Start.
finding out what the deadlines are. Like Christmas break might be a perfect time to actually go in there and focus on actually doing applications and getting things out, because it would be for the 15, 16. Anybody else? Okay, let's talk about a couple other things. How many students are residents? Okay, so we have a lot of residents in the room. There's a couple opportunities for you going forward, also for commuters. But the biggest question that I get is, it's a lot of money to be a resident here on campus. You know, how can I change that? How can I make this more economical but still be on campus? So a lot of our upperclassmen will, once they have a unit group of friends that they may look for off-campus housing, which would be 1 or 2 blocks away, so they're still right here. But because they're sharing the expense of the apartment together, it's not as much as being a resident student. It also allows them to cut back on their meal plan because there are a lot of meals they would be having at home. If you're going to do something like that in the future and you need to borrow a loan to pay for the rent, you would need to supply us with a signed copy of the lease so that we can build what's called an off-campus cost of attendance and allow for those extra loan funds to be a part of the approved expenses for the account. There's also the option for a student to become a resident assistant. They would be the person that manages the dorm floor. There are several criteria to meet that requirement, but if you are a well-rounded student and you're involved and you have a high GPA and you put in your application with Mike Webster, there's no reason why you can't be considered to do something like that for your sophomore, junior, or senior year. If that's the case, the university pays for your meal plan and your housing. Now the student would be taking on a lot of responsibility, but we recognize the amount of responsibility they're taking on, and it's an opportunity for them if financially it's not feasible for them to continue being a resident on their own.
Isn't there a limit on how many times they can do that?
There is not. There is not. Not to my knowledge. I mean, but my understanding is no, there is not. It's important that the students get involved. There's several different clubs, there's several different community service events that are available. There's sports, there's club sports, there's Division III sports. When it comes to applying for those endowed and restricted scholarships, the committee looks at how involved they are. It's not just about their GPA. The other thing that's important is if you're having difficulty paying your balance, any kind of payment towards the bill goes towards us making a consideration to allowing a student to register with a prior balance. If, however, there's no effort whatsoever, it just gives the impression that you're expecting us to cover all those expenses, and it's just not feasible for us to do for all our students. So even if you don't think it's going to make a dent, $10 or $15 a week, or as often as possible, shows intent to move forward. There's also the option of federal work study. I realize that we do not have enough jobs on campus for every student who is eligible for a federal work study job, but if they can get the position, there isn't any reason why they can't take part of that income and walk it down to the business office and put it towards their balance. When it comes to applying for the balance, which is also on the back of your award letter and these orange papers, you have the option to apply for a Parent Plus loan. That loan would be in the parent's name. You have the option to defer it until the student graduates. You can apply for a student alternative loan. It's in the student's name, but the parent needs to co-sign, or a person who has a good credit check needs to co-sign. If for some reason there's an issue with credit with the parents and you apply for a Parent Plus loan, the student is eligible for an additional $4,000 in unsubsidized loan funds from the government. You also have an option to set up a payment plan. And it's important that you realize that the students cannot register for the spring semester until their balance is below $1,000. They can't register for the following fall semester in the spring until their balance is below $200. If you're on a payment plan and you've been making on-time payments, they're not considered to have a balance. So I have families that will do all three because the parent will apply for a Parent Plus loan and they'll take one small part of the debt. Maybe they're denied and they get the extra funds. The student will have maybe a grandparent or a family friend co-sign for a student loan, and then the parent can afford a certain amount on a monthly basis, so they'll set up a payment plan. So however it works for your family, we want to work with you. So don't think that anything, just call us and ask us. Of course, the business office handles the payment plan option of it, but you could certainly call financial aid and we can talk to you about all three of them and get you where you need to go if there's a question. Go ahead.
In reference to jobs, does Newman have a partnership with maybe Giants, Big Lots, or any stores in the area?
We don't, but I do know that there is a bulletin board downstairs of this building that addresses different jobs that are available in the community that they could go and apply for. There's also some jobs, I think, posted for like babysitters and things like that in the area. And you'll also find down there is a list of people who are looking for maybe one person to go in on an apartment with them. Like maybe somebody's graduating in December, so they're gonna have an opening for January. So there's items like that down there that are available.
But not all of the jobs qualify for work study, right? Or a certain one?
No, the work study jobs, we're hoping to have a list from all the supervisors that will be posted on the board across from our office with the scholarships that we talked about. It's just a regular 8x10 sheet, and it'll have a list of jobs, who the departments are that are offering it, and where you need to go to interview. They'll have to come into our office and get a federal work study contract. It's like any other job that they would go to human resources once the supervisor signs off and says they've been hired, and they'll complete the W-9 and for tax purposes, they'll need to show proof of who they are. Typically, I think it's a social security card, driver's license, depending on, it gives you a list of the documents you need. They need to be original. With federal work study, they're only permitted to work 8 to 10 hours a week. The primary focus is the education, but they're permitted to make, most are permitted to make up to $1,000 in a semester.
And that money is paid directly to the student.
It's great, it's paid directly to the student. And it's interesting, you should bring that up. And it's paid bi-weekly. With a student alternative loan or a Parent Plus loan, if you've borrowed enough to the point where it generates a refund, so it covers all the charges, and maybe you've charged books to there and there's still funds left over. If the refund was generated from a Parent Plus loan, the refund check is sent home in the parent's name that applied for that loan. If it's generated from a student alternative loan, the student's the borrower and the check is sent to the student. If they're a resident, it's put in their resident mailbox. That's another thing they need to check on a weekly basis. It's amazing the amount of checks that at the end of the year we pull out of the mailbox, and then we've got to contact the family. So they need to get into the habit of looking at their mailbox. If they're a commuter, it's sent home. Has anybody not received a financial aid award letter from us? Right, we talked earlier, you're going to stop over and we're going to look at that. Has anybody been selected for verification? And was your verification completed?
I think so.
You think so? Stop down and let's take a look and be sure.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Because then I can pull it out and we can make sure that it's been taken care of.
Okay.
Any other questions? Well, we're going to be open until 12, so feel free to stop by if you think of something. It was a pleasure meeting you all, and welcome to Newman.
Thank you.
Have a great day.